and TIL Communication Nigeria Limited. And to our conversation today, we're looking at the highly anticipated November 8th governorship election in Anambra, as the incumbent All Progressives Grand Alliance expressed is confidently eyeing another term in office, describing itself as the most stable political party in Nigeria. We examine the party's achievements in key sectors like housing, security, and the economy. APGA has pointed to significant achievements in education, housing, security, health, and agriculture, citing the employment of 5,000 qualified teachers within the first 5 months of Governor Soludo's administration as an example of commitment to development and growth of the people. However, there is the APC, PDP, and Labour Party that are gearing up to challenge APGA's dominance. The question is, how formidable is the party ahead of this election, and how convincing has the Soludo administration's performance been in the past 3 years? Let's bring in Managing Director, Anambra Housing Development Agency, Chike Anyanu, who joins me via Zoom from the state capital. Mr. Anyanu, thanks for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you very much, my brother, Vito.
So governors in Anambra, yeah, great to have you as well. Governors in your state is now under intense scrutiny for obvious reason. It's election year. I'd like us to begin from a familiar terrain for you, Mr. Anyanu. I think it was in 2023 when Governor Soludo lamented over what he called a poor housing data at the inauguration of the Anambra State Housing Development Corporation Board. Walk us through what specific steps have been taken by your agency to address this concern. Do you have the housing data now in your state? How has that improved?
Thank you very much once again, Nico, for having me. And with that intro, I want to say that everything is looking up very well. And in terms of the housing sector, you have just referenced. Yes, it's not only in the housing sector. We are, moving up the notch in all directions, in all sectors, but specifically about housing. I can tell you that what we met upon arrival here, upon assumption of office, well, I cannot say it was neither here nor there, but all the same, we have actually achieved a lot, not only in data generation or data provision, but in terms of making sure that our estates are up to standard. We've done much in the area of trying to make at least 4 new estates livable, as promised by the governor during his campaign in 2021. And I can bet you that we are also still moving ahead in trying to be sure that we can add maybe 1 or 2 more estates to that before the end of this term.
I hear you and I understand, but there's no way we can measure progress if we don't understand what the housing deficit is. Statistically, do you have the figure as regards housing deficit in Anambra today?
Housing deficit, just like in every other state in Nigeria, in Anambra particularly, we are still having a very high figure. But that notwithstanding, like I said already, we are trying to be sure that we expand the scope. We expand the provision of housing units in Anambra State.
It is that time of the year where we begin to, measure the output, the result with the promises of government. Because according to Governor Soludo, the goal is to create model estates with modernization and also expand to mass housing for workers and low-income earners. When you talk about affordable housing projects and also the accessibility, where is Anambra today?
I can for sure tell you, yes, we've delved into provision of more housing units. But in the area of what we call affordability of course depends on who is affording the affordable units. But I can tell you all over the nation, there's nothing like, for sure, housing units that can be that affordable to especially the very low poor income earners. However, government is putting plans in place to be sure that our people, especially those who are not, you know, well to do, the civil servants, the poor people, that they have, access to housing, to homes, housing units in Anambra State.
Mr. Governor has said from January this year, government would begin to sanction some real estate companies who are engaging in sales of land without developing houses to reduce the housing deficit. There are concerns about that. I'm wondering what the implementation is like right now and the impact it will have on real estate sector.
Yeah, in terms of this, we actually led by coming up with a policy sometime in 2023 to the extent that those who have allocations of plots of land made to them for over 5-10 years without having them developed, that we have to revoke all those allocations and then issue those plots of land, make fresh allocations to people who are willing to build mass housing, residential places and all that. And people heeded our instructions and directives and then started rushing to develop their plots. And come today in some of our estates, especially those estates that are involved, you can see a lot of developments, in tune with what the government is presenting.
Well, it matters how the people respond to that.
A lot of people responded.
All right.
A lot of people at Ngozika Estate, Obiwane Estate, at Udoka Estate, at many of our estates, Hillview Estate at Nkwele Blanca, and so on and forth. So, it's no longer, the very few units of houses we had in the past. The scope is increasing. The number, the units are increasing.
I hear you.
I hear you clearly. Policy of government.
Your agency has had its own fair share of controversies. In August last year, you recall the protest that followed a particular estate, considered the largest housing estate in Anambra. The allegation is that your agency distorted the original plan and reneged on the agreement reached during the acquisition. How do you react?
Once again, you called me up on this, called me out on this, precisely like you said in August last year. And I made my presentation and tried to clear the air to the extent that those people who were alleging that we distorted the plan of the estate were just, they were just lying. They were just, and at the end of the day, they have seen for themselves by themselves and have agreed to what we said, that they were not, they were not cheated out of. Bone of contention then was that what they ought to have gotten from the share of developed or realized plots of land in that particular estate, as you say, Hillview Estate, I think did not get to them, and that it was done by this administration. And I said I was, very blunt in telling them that nothing like that happened under me, under Governor Chukwuma Soludo. It was done in the past, and we came to even correct those anomalies. And today they're happy.
Okay, when you say they're happy, the counsel to the committee at the time was referencing provisions of the land use decree of Anambra State, referring to 20% compensatory plots, which were to be allocated to the Eziobulu family, who are considered the owners of the land. What is the current situation right now as regards this compensatory plots? Are they allocated?
Thank you. I think the correct position is that the Eziobulu family got their own fair share, 20% share of all realized plots in Nkwele Zonaka, except to say that what they added to that is that they should have gotten something from the SPO plots, what we call a special plots that are kept for special developments like schools, hospitals, and all that, markets. And right now, after the explanation, especially with the conclusion of their sitting, I mean, a particular committee of the board that was established, created to sort out these issues, it became clear to them that they should not have gotten anything from those HPO plus they were asking that they would get something from. And it's been explained to them, and I think they're happy. They're happy with that and about that right now.
Mr. Ayano, we're going to touch on other issues in Anambra ahead of the governorship election, but that will be right after this break. Stay with us, everyone. Don't go away.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century, speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Mr. Chike Ayano is the Managing Director, Anambra Housing Development Agency. Thank you for staying the course on the program. There's huge concern about security in Anambra, especially under the Soludo administration. Just recently, the Onitsha Traditional Council condemned the killing of the member representing Onitsha North 1 constituency in the House of Assembly. What's your estimation of safety and security concerns in Anambra? I'm wondering how it also specifically affects the housing sector.
Victor, thank you. Like in every other crime, security is, of course, the most important factor. Most important, what you say, facility or whatever government should place attention on. It is not peculiar to Anambra. I mean, in terms of insecurity. Insecurity is not only bordering on Anambra, but everywhere across the state. But I can assure you and I can tell you that very recently, with the launching by the governor, Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, of Udogachi team, Udogachi program, and the Agone Chamber team, things are returning to normalcy very fast and quickly in Anambra. It is, however, of serious and high concern to everybody, especially the governor, that something like that happened. I mean, the killing, the murder, gruesome murder of Justice Azoka sometime in December. Unfortunately, well, it could have been any other person. We mourn him dearly, we mourn him sorrowfully, and we are saying that let there be nothing again like this. And the governor, the government of Anambra State has taken it up on itself that going forward, nothing of that. The crime rate must be put to the barest minimum in Anambra. And that is where we are heading to now. And I can assure you, people are already applauding the government, that things are returning to normal. It is no longer the way it was, say, some few months ago.
You know, the challenge in this regard is how security situation rubs off on the governor, because he's considered the chief security officer of the state. For instance, now, in a statement issued on Tuesday and signed by the Chief of Staff of the Onitsha Traditional Council, the council described the abduction and murder of Azuka as evidence of the state governor's failure to fulfill its promise of ensuring the security of residents. I'm wondering how the Soludo administration is responding to this.
This is not my talk actually, but I can tell you that governor is not sleeping over all these things. The concern expressed by the Chief of Staff of Onitsha Royal Council, Chief Anyong, well, I can say is entitled to that. But I can tell us that governor is as much concerned about this, the loss of an honorable member of the State House of Assembly, than any other person in the state. Not even the Royal Council itself. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has not been sleeping over all this and has sworn that those giving Anambra State people problem, sleepless nights, must leave the state. From kidnappers to cultists to, they must leave the state. And it is already working out. It is already happening. They call it, for now, also Soludo. Even though people are making creating comic out of that, but that also Soludo is gaining traction. People, they are leaving the state in their droves.
What does that mean in English?
Droves, yeah. Pardon?
What does that mean in English?
Also, Soludo means Soludo's race. That is trying to kick out elements, bad elements, out of the society, out of Anambra State. And that is also Soludo for sure.
So apart from the traditional council,
yes,
the opposition party is also reacting. The leadership of the Labour Party, for instance, had mentioned that the Soludo administration has really tackled the Soludo government over what they call the alarming rate of insecurity. They said that they have completely lost, that Soludo has completely lost the willpower to enforce law and sanity in the state. So that's opposition party on one hand. You've also talked about what Mr. Governor is doing to arrest the situation. But do you think the people can see what is happening, especially as regards efforts of government, as we count down to election?
People are not only seeing, they are feeling it already. It is there for them to feel and see that the rate has gone down drastically already within a space of only 2 months. You can hear just very few, and it is not even attainable any longer. From Onitsha to Ihiala, from Ihiala to Lilu, even Lilu. Those people, those bad elements are being kicked out of the system, out of the state, and they are on this Soludo race, also Soludo. Now, what do you expect from the opposition party? It's only the issue of security they have been alluding to, and that security has been restored. So what else? What again do they have against Soludo? I can tell you nothing. In terms of achievements, the governor has not been able to mount his achievements at all. It is for you to go and see. In law, they say, res ipsa loquitur. The facts speak for themselves. My dear, come to Anambra today. Anambra you are visiting or going to visit today is no longer Anambra of 10 years ago. No longer Anambra of 5 years ago. No longer Anambra of 20 years ago. Things are looking up.
All right.
See Anambra, see development everywhere.
What is the current situation with sit-at-homes on Monday in Anambra?
The issue of sit-at-home has been addressed and addressed properly. It's for people to do what? To start, implementing, coming out gradually, and they're already, like, on Mondays these days, Onitsha, Oka, Eklobia, where there used to be sit-at-home, people are now coming out. We had Monday the other day, some 4 days back, and go to every part of Anambra. People are already coming out now. Yeah. And people are giving the governor kudos for all these, you know, and it's for people to come back. People who are not used to coming back before, when they come back, they say, "Wow, is it true that all these things are happening within this period?" Even during last Christmas, you know, the last past Yuletide season, people were here in their droves, you know, making merriments, enjoying themselves. A lot of people came back. It is for the opposition people to say, let them for once agree that Soludo is on top of the game, not to be mounted and then conjuring and you know, saying all sorts of things about security, insecurity, whatever. My brother, things are changing and have indeed changed in Anambra.
We're running out of time now. The political, the opposition might not quite agree with your position about Mr. Governor's performance, but I guess that election day will tell. But as an appointee of government, I'm sure you're paying close attention to political developments in Anambra. There appears to be a major gang-up to wrestle power from the ruling APGA party at the polls. Does this bother you, especially considering how the Labour Party performed in the 2023 presidential election in Anambra?
Well, one thing is for people to gang up. One. The second thing is for that gang up to succeed. That is two. The gang up means nothing to me, personally, particularly. And I can assure you too, it doesn't mean anything to the governor. You know how? You know why? The reason is that, like I said already, the facts speak for themselves. Come to Anambra and you see real things the governor has done that can give him the mandate once again to be on top of Anambra leadership come November 8th this year. Opposition or no opposition. Well, they are opposing in vain, I can tell you. It's not much to worry the governor, bother him. He's going about, and let me tell you, we are not even, remember, we have not started campaign. I am saying this because I can claim that I have been there. I was there before, during, and after the last election, governor's election in Africa. So I know very much, very much about how we campaign, what we campaign for, what we are delivering to Anambra people, and what we have delivered.
All right.
And I can say that those things we have delivered.
Yes.
If you measure them.
I guess time will tell, Mr. Ion.
Yes, sir.
I guess time will tell. Then, you know, it's still a long way from election. But thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We're going to continue this conversation subsequently. Managing Director, Anambra Housing Development Agency, Chike Ayano. Thank you for talking to us on the program today.
Thank you very much, sir, Victor. Thank you.
And that's our show today, everyone. You can watch it again at midnight, and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.